Okay, welcome to today's October 2021 Customer Success Webinar. We are excited to have you here today. And also, it is International Credit Union Day. So we heard from a lot of our customers that you're having parking lot fun events in your parking lots or on your branch. And so anyway, we just want to say have a great day for all of our credit unions out there. All right, so we're going to go. I'm Brenda Pierce. I have with me David Kingsbury and Helen Triplett. This
Morning,
welcome.
morning.
Yeah,
Good morning.
glad to have you back, Helen. And let's go ahead and look at our agenda. So we're going to talk today about our campaign framework fundamentals and take a look at that and how it affects the success of your campaigns. Making just a few tweaks can really increase that success. And also we're going to look at how Deep Target supports you and these campaigns. And we have the Q3 Superstar of the Quarter that we'll announce and give that award out. And then, of course, we'll pick our Java Joy winner. So let's get started. I'm going to turn it over to David Kingsbury, and he's going to talk about campaign framework. Okay, David?
Great. Thank you, Brenda. And thank you, everybody. And thank you for being here today. And we've got a lot of information to cover today. And so it is truly an educational webinar. And we really appreciate you guys being here for that. We all know that you're marketing professionals, and many of you are already doing all of the things we're talking about, but it's great to do a little refresher from our perspective so we can incorporate the use of technology into your whole mix as well. So the very first thing we need to know when we're in a marketing position is what our customer needs are. And I know that sounds very simple, but it actually gets pretty complicated. And so we have really three challenges at the center of that. First of all, who in our user base has a specific financial need we need to solve or help them solve right now? Well, we can't really wait till right now. We actually have to predict that. And so we have to use all of our know-how, if you will, to do that and then put it in place in time for them to actually execute on that. We also have to get their attention. And in today's world, there's so much noise and there's so much communication, I'll say, going on. It's very hard to sift through. But the great fact is the financial institution that your customers and members belong to, yours, starts out as a trusted source. So they will pay attention if you actually reach out to them. And then finally, the third challenge is we have to make that purchase journey a great experience. It has to be comfortable, even though it might be a little bit difficult at times. I don't want to say difficult, might not be as frictionless. Thinking about my mortgage that I got done a couple years ago, but as easy as possible, right? Okay, so let's dive into some of that. So what do we know about our customers? We know that every one of them, including all of us, have financial needs that change over our lifetime. And some needs come early, and then those increase over time. Like we all got checking accounts early on, savings accounts, credit cards, and so forth. And it might not be as frequent that we modify or change those. Secondly, some are cyclical, like car loans. We will need a new car every few years. Consumer loans, perhaps even more frequent. And we also need financial advice, financial assistance, education fairly regularly today. And then finally, there are some things that will start at a small scale, perhaps, and then increase over time. So let's think about that just for a minute. So if we do a visual review of that, there is flow that happens over time. So as you can see across the bottom, these are age groups, and we group people together in ages for reasons. And then on the left is importance. So just like I talked about a moment ago, there are going to be certain products and services that will start high for the generations, the younger generations, and then move lower. There are ones that will change over time, which are very cyclical, like we described. And then there are those that will start with little interest and then grow. And I'm thinking, on a generalized basis for all of these different generations. So we have to find that mix that we want to display to our customer member base, so it is very relevant at their timing. So now it becomes a little more complicated, right? But we've got a lot of experience, we've got a lot of know-how, and that helps us get through this. So that first challenge is, what do we do to make sure that we get those offers out to them quickly? And sometimes we have to consider regional and national situations that are ongoing as well. As we all know, last year was a very difficult one, and everybody really jumped through a bunch of different hoops to help their customers and members. And it was, I think overall, it was an amazing year for financial institutions. What is our best practice? We'll cast a wide net over the most likely personas. Just thinking about that graph a moment ago. Run an all user campaign all year, and perhaps leave it running. And what you're doing is actually telling them about, at a high level, your great products and services. And then really perhaps change the image and wording to reflect a different generation. And so that can allow it to modify and not be that much work for you as well. And just see what happens, and certainly measure your results. So let's take that chart again. And what that means is you guys are, and let's think about Q1 2022, because I know you guys are already into Q4, certainly. And let's look at what all user campaigns we might do across all generations based on the underlying needs behind this, right? And so we create that, and then maybe we drop in and we do just an all user campaign, but age based on the generation. And I highlight the traditionalists here because we're actually going to take a peek at that in just a minute, okay? So then what do? Now we look at the ebbs and flows of needs, and we lay out a framework of very specific campaigns that are more or less highly or lightly targeted, so that we can capitalize on those events. And notice it's more for a visual effect. We're going to do a campaign for Gen Z for checking and saving here. We're going to do perhaps a car loan, get them thinking about the car loan early on both sides. We're going to do consumer loan here and here. Maybe we also do some consumer loans as well that cross Gen Z and millennial, and so forth, all the way through the chain. And maybe we do a specific set of campaigns on this side, or a specific campaign that that we talked about here just for traditionalists. Okay, so we've got to think about all that, and it's actually not that daunting. But what we want to do inside of our second challenge is, how do we get their attention? So the fundamentals behind marketing today is, as we've learned, that people like to see people they think they look like smiling using the product they need right now. So that's a visual interpretation of them seeing a credible product being used by someone that they find as referenceable. What's even more powerful is that if you actually used a real happy customer in that reference, that's why we're seeing more and more actual customers represented inside of ads and so forth. And then the very base of our framework is generational based ads work the best. That's the result of all of our research over the past several years. DeepTarget has been tracking and working with all of the digital marketing professionals. Okay, so our best practice says quarterly. Well, first of all, make sure you use targeted by rule or predicted campaigns. And if you haven't looked into predictive campaigns, we can help you understand more about it. Super powerful and super engaging. But quarterly, run rule-based campaigns based on your specific generation with a little more detail in the rules. Use detargeting. Detargeting is a phenomenal capability that we have inside of the app that says turn off the ad if a certain number of impressions have occurred and a click has not occurred. And you can A/B test inside of DeepTarget really easily. Run 2 campaigns targeting the same audience, but differ your messages, images, and then measure the results. And do that in a short period of time, a couple of weeks, and then move from there to the better engaging campaign. And then finally, consider 3D Storyteller. It really is a new innovative display technology, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second as we go forward. But here's a couple of images of different generational looks that is how you want to share. So people will immediately, just like in a story, they'll identify with whomever in that image looks most like themselves, and therefore are drawn in. And then you have to captivate them with wording that will get them excited, okay? So let's take that for example. We have one of our customers now, it's been a little while ago, but it happens to be my most favorite campaign for a couple of reasons. But this customer of ours actually focused on a investment-based campaign crossing all traditionalist users. Now notice this particular campaign was greater than age 72, and it just said, I want to give you a little help. So you can see they did it online banking and mobile, and it says for his generation and yours, we can help, and ask us how. And this was a perfect mid-level, I'll say, age-based campaign. Had a little more detail in the rules. There was needed to be money in the savings accounts, but here's a awesome offer. It could be several products that were sold, but CDs was the prime one. And in the space of 4 months, 2,752 unique traditionalists saw the ad, 152 clicked on it, but yet 175 opened accounts in that time. That's a 6% close rate, which is phenomenal. It also tells you that many of them went straight from impression. And you know how traditionalists are. They'll visit the bank rather than try to do anything online to open that account. And we see that evident here. So just a phenomenal campaign and so easily executed, okay? Want to make sure that you then look at 3D Storyteller. So this is the example of mobile banking using Banno. And the launch point of the 3D Storyteller is off of this panel here on the left, your financial offers for Jacob. And here comes the rotational image. And we're just going to give you a little sneak peek. One of our customers deployed 3D Storyteller 2 months ago with very specific plans on how to use it. And this is one of the ads displayed, which was related to auto loans. And with it, they had 1,380 unique impressions, unique users saw it, and 525 clicked on it. I'm sorry, it's actually 585 in the mobile space alone, which is even higher than 38%. So 3D Storyteller can really engage in the mobile environment. So you should consider that as well. So really phenomenal. We're going to talk more about that next time. And you guys may or may not remember, in July, we had a Q2 Superstar Advanced CU that had phenomenal results over the course of Q2. And they had this wide mix, excellent broad mix of campaigns deployed and resulted in really amazing results. So the broadness of your campaigns will make a difference. So finally, we have to make the purchase journey as easy as possible. And that also means once a click has been recorded, you need to follow up quickly. So remember inside of DeepTarget that leads can be transmitted via encrypted email to persons who can follow up, or you can actually automate the clicks being moved directly into a CRM. And once this all happens, then that follow-up needs to occur, reaching directly out from your institution to them to let them know that you care. And you can deep link inside of DeepTarget to an application page, so for your online applications. So certainly all of that is capable today, okay? So don't forget to use your innovative tools. So behind the campaigns, certainly the rule-based campaigns are there for you, deep targeting and predictive campaigns. We have these display technologies, HTML, consider video. We've talked about it in the past. 95% of the information in a video is retained by the user. That's the highest rate of all. So videos are showing up left and right, and we're excited to say that in just a very, in fact, I think it's next week, when you go to deeptarget.com, you'll actually be able to experience 3D Storyteller, and you'll see a myriad of ads that are all full of video and how engaging it can be. And don't forget about interstitial banners. They're more common and more accepted today. So that's coming, certainly. And then finally, 3D Storyteller, like we discussed. But don't forget about lead distribution. That can be so powerful. Okay, last slide here. But in today's world, we have to be data-driven. So certainly we've been that way all along with Deep Target, inside of your rules, certainly. And it's even more so inside of predictive campaigns. So the 4 words now related to ads are they have to be relevant, valuable, credible, and personal. So just remember those as you're creating each ad and see if that affects you that way as you create it. And impressions do matters, but we have to get our eyes on those ads. So once again, it's all about meaningful content, imagery, and message. And start planning for 2022 now. I'm sorry, I know you didn't want to hear that probably, or many of you already are in that mode, but we're here to help. And we're happy to do a review meeting with you to get you up to date on most of our new technologies and what other users are doing out there in this space, okay? So I think that's everything I had to cover today. I'm so glad you guys were here to hear it, and I'm gonna turn it over to Helen.
Hey, thanks, David. I just wanted to mention the next section is gonna be talking about our Superstar of the Quarter. And at the end of each quarter, we announce a winner of the Superstar of the Quarter, and it goes to the financial institution who has outstanding KEI and KMI, who is following recommended best practices and has shown improvement in performance over the previous quarter. And this quarter's award goes to, it's going to be Michigan Schools and Government Credit Union.
Woo!
Yes. Okay, so Julie Donnellan and Tavisha Minhas, they did an outstanding job using Deep Target to promote their products and services to their membership. And they have set up their campaigns in a very strategic and thoughtful way. And we're going to take a look at that as we go through the slides. And I just want to talk about their size. Michigan Schools and Government has an asset side of 2.7 billion with approximately 24,000 online and 41,000 mobile banking members using Deep Target today. So that can give you some kind of a metric there. So we can go move on. So Michigan Schools had an average KEI of 12. So that means they had every 12th person was clicking on an ad throughout the quarter. And all of their ads had a great click-through rate at the category level, and the click-through rates ranged from 1.2 to 7.6%, which exceeds the industry average of 0.05%. So that's tremendous. But even better, they had an average at KMI of 71, meaning that every 71st member was opening a new account after having viewed an ad. And not only were their ads reaching the right target audience, the number of influence conversions was phenomenal. The campaign's influence during this quarter, they opened 2,407 new accounts in Q3 with an average of 802 new accounts being opened each month in the quarter.
Wow.
So let's take a moment to reflect on those results, because 2,407 new accounts in the quarter was really phenomenal. So that's wow.
That is a big wow. Great.
Wow,
Great job.
Way to go.
Yep.
Okay. So you may ask, how did they get such great results? Well, let's first look at their campaign framework. And on this one, I've color coded it by the targeting method used. So you'll see the blue ones are targeted by rule, green is by predictive, yellow is all users, and the peach color is targeted by list. So they ran a total of 32 total campaigns throughout in the quarter, with typically 13 to 17 campaigns running at any one time in a month. And their focus was not just cross-selling, but they established communications with their members through the use of banners announcing maintenance notices, brand launch information, security tips and holidays, and other things. So for all the product promotions like auto, consumer loans, credit cards, mortgages, and checking, they use rule-based or predictive model targeting methods to specifically target their members. And as an example, for the consumer loan category, they used 4 targeted by rural campaigns and 1 predictive model campaign. So, just in that one category, they had 5 campaigns running. So that was really good. And so for their services offering, they use targeted by rural or targeted by list campaigns. And for their email statement, e-statement campaign, they updated their audience daily using a batch list automation process. So if you are not familiar with that, just reach out to our support team and we'll show you how to do that. That makes that simple. And for their notices and general communications, they used all users campaigns and ran a couple of targeted campaigns for financial education and student debit cards. So you can see that their strategy was highly successful as it drove new account openings and revenue for their institution. So let's look at their compare campaign category analytics report. And you can see from the bar chart at the top that in Q3 they ran campaigns in 11 different categories. So they're using a broad mix of campaigns, which is one of our best practices. And the chart at the bottom shows the same information, but broken out by channel with online banking in blue and mobile in the magenta color. There are a high number of impressions in both online and mobile banking, and those impressions are consistent with the number of unique members viewing the ads for each of those channels. So you can, take a look at your data that way. Now let's look at the line graph on the compare category analytics report. Well, on this one, you can see that they had all the best practices there. They didn't do first name personalization. They're working on their product code mappings, but having 8 of 10 of the best practices is always what we see. If you're following that, you're going to get some good results there. So back on that line graph, we can see that there's been attentiveness to their campaigns. Some of their campaigns ran all quarter, while some ran for briefer periods. Like there were 2 holidays during that period, so there's 4th of July and Labor Day, running through that time. And then if we look at the clicks for that same period, you can see that the other category had a great engagement in the first 2 months of the quarter, and then trailed off in September, while the consumer loan campaigns took off in September. So be sure to check your own charts to see what kind of activity and responsiveness is happening for your campaigns. And if you have any questions about how to interpret your results, contact our support team and schedule a customer success review, and we'll be happy to go over the reports with you. We've been setting up calls with a lot of customers, and probably a half of our customers have had the review this year. So if you haven't had yours, please be sure to schedule one. And in the next few slides, we want to show you some of the ads that they ran in Q3. Their ads are appealing, and they kept their text to a minimum with appropriate messaging. And what struck me as I was putting the slides together was the use of the branding colors that they used. They're blue and maroon for their general notices. And that was an excellent way to train their members to be watchful for their notices in the future. No, those are the ones on the right. So the action requested, we were financial champion, COVID updates, and all those kinds of things were like we're using their credit union branding. And so we want to say congratulations once again to Julie and Tavisha at Michigan Schools and Government for their marketing efforts, and they had tremendous results that they achieved through their credit union, and they did a great job.
Yeah, thanks, Helen. And one of the things, it just laying the foundation, laying that framework, we see that the people that are winning the Superstar of the Quarter and the Superstar of the Month have really thought out their strategy in that campaign framework. So that's kind of like laying the foundation. It's very important part that you shouldn't skip. So anyway, great job. And just great. We have such great customers. Yeah.
All right. That's a great point, Brenda. Well done. Okay.
Okay. Okay. So now, as Helen is picking the Java Joy winner, we're going to make sure everybody's on the line. Let me just tell you just a few things, just do some house cleaning. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Okay. So at deeptarget.com/newscast, it gives you the latest information, and there's been a flurry of good articles that have come out. And also, we mentioned last time, Community Bank did a fantastic webinar, and so if you want to go back and listen to that, if you didn't have a chance to hear it, go back and listen to our friends at Community Bank. You can get to it at the newscast, and also read the latest articles and information out. I will go ahead and say next week is going to be a big week for Deep Target. We have a great announcement that's coming out next week, so stay tuned and watch this newscast section, okay? So next slide, Dave. Oh, and we have done, Access Softtech and Deep Target have partnered to do a contest, and oh my gosh, we had an overwhelming, so many applications. It was fantastic, and it was promoting all the things that you're doing. Here are the people that will be going or are finalists. And we will pick the winner. It'll be a live vote at their conference. So if y'all are going to the conference, it's out in Napa. The winner will be picked on November 15th. And it's some tough competition, let me tell you. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be voting by the peers. So everybody there will vote. Okay, anyway, congratulations to all these guys. And we had so many great applications. All right, Helen, we're at Java Joy now. And who is our winner?
Okay, this month's Java Joy winner, it goes to Gina Traum at BNC National Bank.
Woo!
Great, so that's Gina. Gina, let me tell you, you will be getting e-card through email. And so if you do not receive it from us in the next, by the end of this week, early next week, check your junk. And if your junk folder doesn't have it, then come back to us, because we want to make sure you get that coffee. Congratulations. Okay. So as we close out, we want to remind you, we have a short survey. We always appreciate your feedback. It really helps us. So it's just a short survey that will pop up at the end. We appreciate your feedback on that. And the next slide is just letting you know that our next webinar will be November 18th. So we hope that you will go ahead and register for that. You can do that by going to deeptarget.com/webinars and go ahead and register. We hope you have a fantastic October, and we hope you get lots of treats, no tricks. And then we hope to see you back here in November. We appreciate you coming to these webinars. We want to make them as effective for you as possible. And so we really appreciate you coming. So thanks for joining us today. Have a great day and have a very productive month.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.